In Game of Thrones, is the Lord of Light real? Is he a real god with real powers and is the true god of the universe? Maybe. A question like this is hard to pinpoint because on one hand, there is something there. There is something that is happening. There's something that's wielding some sort of power, but is it a god? Is it a specific being with a specific purpose? That we know less of, but we do know that there is something to the Lord of Light. There's something to the abilities that he seems to imbue people with, and that isn't something that you can ignore. So you have R'hllor, who is the Lord of Light. That is the name that he goes by, who is worshipped by the Red Temple, an organization that is dedicated to him and spreading the good word of his, fiery passion. And the people who do that are known as the Red Priests and the Red Priestesses. These are all slaves that are bought by the Red Temple and trained up to be, magic light. Because the thing to remember is, despite the fact that we do see them have legitimate magical abilities, not all of the stuff that they do is magic. In Melisandre's one POV chapter that we get, we find out that she has a trunk full of little powders and concoctions that she uses for special effects. And she justifies this as like a necessary thing for the conversion of people. This isn't to say that like her ability to see things in the fire isn't real, and some of the other magical elements like a glamour, for example, isn't real, but like they're being supplemented. And of course, she's doing the very, religious extremist thing and thinking that the ends justify the means. So it's okay if I'm like fibbing here because in other cases, this is very real. And it is, because we do know several things that these red priests and priestesses are able to do. The visions in the flames are real. It's something that all of them are able to do. And it's something that, is not a glamour. It's not a showboating. Like, they are seeing things. The issue is just whether they're interpreting them correctly or not. Now, you could argue what the source of these visions are, and this is where I think like we get a little wibbly-wobbly with the whole Lord of Light thing, because the Red Priests and Priestesses, they ascribe these visions to R'hllor. They say that they come from R'hllor, and they're just trying to interpret it, though they don't always do a great job. And maybe, but we don't know for certain, because visions exist in this world outside of seemingly the power of R'hllor, and they come with different like strands of magic and from different areas. The North and the First Men and the Old Gods, they have green dreams. These are dreams that you can get that typically are prophetic, but are more like metaphorical in nature. And honestly, that doesn't sound dissimilar from these visions in the flames. But the difference, of course, is like the delivery method. So green dreams are dreams. You get them as a dream versus the flames where you are, awake and staring into fire. Similarly, with people of Valyrian descent, there are dragon dreams, people known as dragon dreamers, who would get these like weird prophetic dreams that would purport to show like future events, and then a lot of times Targaryens who would get them would try to like act off of them, and then things most of the time wouldn't work out well. Though of course one time they did, when Daenys the Dreamer had the dream about the doom of Valyria, and instead of like actively trying to change anything about it or stop it from happening, she just like told her family, and they were like, oh, okay, and then they just up and left. That is how you deal with a prophecy. You don't try to fuck with it. You don't try to like, oh, I want to stop this event from happening. You just say, let me remove myself. Let me get as far away from this thing as I can and be safe. But of course, the visions aren't the old thing. We have several moments of very tangible power and ability showing themselves. We have Thoros of Myr down here, who keeps resurrecting Beric Dondarrion. And then, spoiler for the Storm of Swords at the end, Beric Dondarrion at one point, instead of, continuing to be resurrected, he gives the kiss of life to the dead Catelyn Stark. She is resurrected, and then he has like a true death. And this power, this resurrection, is a power that seems to be associated with the Lord of Light. However, again, it doesn't seem all that dissimilar from what like the others, the White Walkers, are doing. George has even called people resurrected using the Lord of Light's power fire wights, as opposed to like the ice wights that you get from the others. Because really, like, they're just an animated corpse. People like Beric Dondarrion, Lady Stoneheart, they're alive, and I would say that they're more alive than like the normal wight that's made by an other, since they seem to have like some more cognitive ability. but they are still a shadow of their former self. They are like the frozen image of that person at the moment of death. Lady Stoneheart, Catelyn Stark, is just this like frozen moment of rage and wanting revenge at the moment of her death, and that's what she is now that she's resurrected. Beric Dondarrion, similarly, doesn't know huge parts of his childhood. He's losing his memories each time he's resurrected. Less and less of him is there. Then you have one of the weirder instances with a red priest named Mokoro. Mokoro is on a ship trying to head to Daenerys. He's a very high up red priest in that organization. They currently think that she is their candidate for Azor Ahai, because remember, every red priest is like trying to figure out who Azor Ahai is so that they can have the favor of R'hllor and all that. But on his way there, he meets Victarion Greyjoy, who is just the worst Greyjoy, but whatever. And Victarion, I believe his hand is like, he has like a very bad infection. And Mokoro does some weird fucking magic on it. Magic that doesn't seem like it's a glamour. It doesn't seem like it's one of the tricks that Melisandre talks about. He like heals Victarion and seemingly gives him this like burnt looking superhuman arm thing. How? We don't fucking know. But again, a lot of these things are being attributed to the Lord of Light as this like figure that they think that power derives from, but we aren't entirely certain that like that is the case. We know that some of these abilities exist outside of the Lord of Light religion, and so maybe there is some kind of like god figure that this power is coming from, but also it seems like the explanation might just be that this is just magic, because there are like different strands and types of magic that you can practice that have like tangible effects on the world if you know how to use them. And it does kind of like beg the question, are all the abilities of the Red Priest just them tapping into an older magic that they are now ascribing to a god? We know that the primary magics wielded in Valyria, for example, that might have also contributed to the creation of dragons were fire magic and blood magic. And so it seems like Lord of Light is just primarily fire magic, and they're using that a lot. Also, though, they are throwing in blood magic here and there. So, you know, it's unclear, but I do wonder if none of the gods are real, but magic just happens to exist in this world, and if you like understand how to wield it, you can, but because they don't understand the mechanics of it, they want to, you know, give credit to a god, whether it's R'hllor, whether it's the old gods, whether it's the new gods, whatever. Anyway, don't forget to comment what you want me to talk about next, and don't forget to go watch the podcast Song of Spice and Ronnie over in the places, links where you expect them to be. Okay, good night.